Hello, everyone, and welcome to CapitalW Collective's Mentorship Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Stacey, and I have the distinct pleasure of bringing professionals of various roles who will share their wealth of experience, insights, and recommendations from their own mentoring journeys. If you know CapitalW Collective, you know our commitment to amplifying women in the capital market space through education, elevation, and empowerment. And in this series, we'll discuss the impact and the importance of mentoring. In fact, no matter your role, we'll be educating you on what to do to elevate yourself and to feel empowered to lean into mentoring. And today, our guest is the incredible Tyree. I am really excited about this conversation. Let me just give you a real quick bio for Carl. With nearly 3 decades of mortgage and financial services experience, which, by the way, at 30 years, I'm not buying that one, Carl. I think that might be an exaggeration, unless you started in kindergarten, which is possible.
It's old.
It's possible
if
you were born into the industry.
I'm old.
Carl Tyree holds multiple leadership positions with Arch Mortgage Insurance Company and Arch Mortgage Funding Incorporated, both part of Arch Capital's global mortgage group. He's been with Arch. He's been their executive vice president and chief sales officer since 2018 and serves on the company's board of directors. In January of 2025, Mr. Tyree was appointed to the additional position of AMF president and CEO, overseeing business strategy and operations for the mortgage market conduit that purchases closed loans and provides a stable source of liquidity for non-QM business. He joined Arch MI in 2013 as Vice President of National Accounts, where he managed company relationships with several top 50 lenders and became Senior Vice President for National Accounts in 2016. Before joining Arch, Carl held senior sales and sales leadership roles with Republic Mortgage Insurance Company, Nomura Credit, is that right? Nomura Credit and Capital Incorporated, and Ocwen Financial Corporation. He earned a bachelor's degree in economics from Salisbury University's Purdue School of Business, and he's just a real cool dude. I am so excited to bring this conversation to you.
No, you're nice.
Carl, thank you first for being here today. I know it's not always easy to carve out time, but we really appreciate you making time for CapitalW Collective and to talk about mentorship. And your bio is so impressive. And I know from our previous...
I should thank my marketing. I should probably thank my marketing team for making it sound so good. I think it's like a lot of people. It's a journey through the mortgage ecosystem, sometimes whether you want it or not.
Well, and there are so many people who say, I just kind of landed in mortgage, or I just kind of found myself here. But I'm a real big believer that every step on your journey is taking you right where you need to be. And the fact that you've been in this niche of the mortgage industry for such a long period of time really just accentuates the fact that everything you did before was to get you to here, to where you're supposed to be right here. And while your bio is impressive, I also know from our previous conversations that there is so much more to you than what your bio says or what somebody can stalk on LinkedIn. So what's something that we won't find in these spots that may be an unexpected Carl factoid that you'd like to share with our audience?
I would say you never find on LinkedIn that I spent about 3 winters as a ski instructor, which is something I love. It's one of my biggest passions. Better skier than golfer. So I like the winters. I like the mountains. But it really is kind of one of the early stages of, just educating people on something. And really that passion for making people excel at something maybe they weren't good at before.
Love that. I love that. And you might be onto something. They say all great deals are done on the golf course. Maybe they're done on the ski slope with a little bit of thrill, excitement, and danger. Maybe that's what the world needs.
There's absolutely some done on the ski on the mountain. There's no doubt about it.
Well, when you think about the mentors you've had along the way, share a few stories of how they impacted who you've become in your career and what made them great mentors for you.
I would say 2 come to mind for me, I think, and at very different times in my career. The first being a lady named 𝗤𝘰𝘮𝗵𝗶𝗽. I was her account rep when I started the business, I think at 22 years old, maybe 23. She actually still works for one of our competitors now, but I look back and she was such an instrumental person for me, and I think she exuded an incredible level of patience, which I think you need for people that are early in their career, where you kind of react to things in certain ways, or you're not exactly sure some of the daily grind things that you should be doing. And I thought she was so impactful and just kind of meeting me where I was, and guiding me along the way and being super encouraging, and also at the same time kind of pushing me when I needed to be pushed. So she holds a dear spot in my heart after all these years. Met another individual later in my career, right before I came to Arch. His name was 𝗠𝗲𝘁𝗶𝗽, and when he brought me over to Auckland, it was one of these things where I was brought on to do one thing, and I ended up doing a lot of different other things. And all along the way, when he's like, "Hey, I'd like you to lead this," and I'm like, I don't know anything about that." And he's like, "Well, you've got enough aptitude, and you know, let's just throw you in head first, and it won't let you drown." And that was kind of his approach. But quite frankly, I wish we had a lot of opportunities like that for people, not just at Arch, but everywhere, where you can just really take a chance on someone, and give them a shot. And I always felt he was spectacular at that. And I got to learn 3 or 4 things I had no idea I was going to go learn, and it was all kind of under steady guidance by him. So those are the two that probably impacted me the most when I look back. Not formal mentor programs, but just informal mentoring.
I absolutely love that. Those are beautiful stories. And you're right. Mentoring isn't always about here's the framework, here's the program, it needs to fit in this little niche. It's very broad. It's just our interactions, it's the encounters, it's the people who join us along our path, and the ways they impact us. And I see a bit of correlation here. So you had a mentor who taught you patience and showed you patience, and then you've got one who's challenging you to step outside of your comfort zone, and you're a ski instructor. Those things all just fit together. I can imagine you have to have a lot of
I guess they
patience,
do. I didn't think about
right?
it that way, but sure, yeah.
So you've not only taken those attributes that they demonstrated for you and pulled them into how you've learned in the industry, but how you're now teaching people even outside of our industry. So that's definite impact from mentors that have made a difference in your life. I love those stories, especially with somebody, like early on in your career, who really is helping you find your way. Those mentors are so important.
For sure. For sure.
Now, how do you approach mentoring?
Well, I think you mentioned the word informal. I think for me, at least personally, I like the informal nature of a mentor-mentee relationship. I will say that Arch has a structured program that I've participated in, and it's worked out very good. The reason I like how Arch has done it is because you typically don't end up in a mentor-mentee relationship with someone in your department. So the first time I participated in it, the person I was working with, she was in IT, and that was awesome because I think I learned as much as hopefully she did. Most of what she was working on was very foreign to me. Like I consider myself successful technology if I start the computer and make it through the day on it. Um, but it was interesting to learn so much of what she did, and then be able to really discuss, the human side of the business and how she interacts with other people and what she was trying to accomplish in her career, and just I enjoyed those conversations. What I would say is on the informal side, I think, and maybe it's the fact both my parents were educators, I find so much personal value in trying to explain things, on the kind of why we do things. And can you educate somebody incrementally on what they know and provide additional insight so that they can go out and be more confident in the job that they do? And I think, at least I hope, I think when I get to the end of my career, you can think about leadership in different aspects, but I hope I'm just someone that was able to help educate people on different topics, and make sure they were comfortable enough they could be vulnerable and ask the why. Because it takes a lot. I think even the leaders that work in my organization, all the way down to the account managers and to some of the staff in our corporate office, sometimes it's hard to ask a question you might feel is like, gosh, should I already know this, or something of that nature. And people need to feel comfortable and ask questions, and then hopefully we take the time to be present and deliver thoughtful answers.
That is amazing. I love that you have this focus on helping the people that you're mentoring understand the why behind what their role is, like specifically what their role is and how it matters in the grand scheme. And as they're not just a bolt on the plane. They're that bolt that has a specific purpose that helps hold the whole thing together. You're driving organizational change through the way that you're mentoring, because you're helping people understand why what they do impacts the greater vision, but you're also helping them understand the vision. So from a personal aspect of mentoring that I've experienced, mentors who've helped me understand why behind what we do have always been those ones that helped me feel more confident about what I needed to do, because I understood why it mattered. And you're empowering people in a really deep way without making it seem like you're forcing it on them.
You hope so. I think we all hope so in any leadership position. But the why is so critical, because there's so many moments where you can be so frustrated in what you're trying to accomplish on a daily aspect, and it might feel like the company's not like, why are they doing it this way? They should be doing it this way. But if you can kind of make your lens a little larger than the position you're in from time to time, and then the people that are setting strategy are able to communicate that message down, I think it's very impactful, and it lets you get past the frustrating thing and still continue to be positively engaged and deliver high quality results.
Wait, there's frustration in the mortgage insurance industry, or in the mortgage industry as a whole? People get frustrated?
The mortgage industry? No, it's so easy. It's, rates always go down and volume's always there, and every transaction is frictionless, right?
Absolutely. Every borrower is easy and understands the process, and sure, piece of cake.
Easy peasy.
Well, yeah, right? So, my friend, it is time for your Mentorship Matters nugget. So this is where we ask our guests to share their mentorship nugget. Now, this might be advice that your younger self could have used, or an action that you recommend others take to lean into mentoring relationships. What takeaway do you want to share with our audience today?
No, I feel like I could answer that one in both those questions in one statement, which is I love, Walt Whitman has some great quotes, and I think one of my favorite was used in the show 𝗠𝗏𝘁𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗽, which is be curious, not judgmental. And I'm certainly not perfect on this one. I don't really know anybody who is, but really take the time when people feel strongly about something to try, and before you make judgment on what's been said or where they're going, to actually ask a couple more questions and be curious of why they feel that way. Be curious of why they think the direction of something should go that way. And that requires you to kind of meet people where they are, and hopefully then say, okay, I see where you're going with that, but could you consider it from this angle, right? And I think as a younger person, at least for me, that was nearly impossible. I think I'm better at it now, but I'm not perfect at it. But I think that would be, if I could give anybody one piece of advice, I think society and business-wise would operate better if we all thought about things that way.
I love that. I also personally kind of love that you threw in a Ted Lassoism, because, I mean, let's just face it, the guy's brilliant.
It's such a feel-good show.
Isn't
a feel-good show. It's in a world of TV that's not great. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I think if you watch like an episode of The Office, when Michael, who you know is just well-intentioned, has good intentions, but it really does things wrong. And then you watch an episode of Ted Lasso, you get the what not to do and what to do. So as a leader specifically, so I love that. And,
for sure, two great shows for different reasons.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Carl, we cannot thank you enough for being here with us today. We're so excited to bring this conversation to our audience, and for them to lean into your advice and your thoughts around mentorship, and specifically your approach to, making this not feel like it has to be a cookie cutter, formal framework. It's really about interacting with people, uplifting them, and helping them to find what it is that's going to be their next great thing. So we really appreciate you being here today.
Well, I appreciate being here, and I appreciate what CapitalW Collective is trying to achieve, and I think the world of the founders and the people that have got it up and going, and I think it's going to be very impactful for people in my organization as well.
I can't thank you enough on behalf of CapitalW for what Arch is doing to support CapitalW Collective. Without the support of organizations like Arch and great people like you, it would be really difficult for us to do what we're doing and to bring this type of learning and opportunity to our audience. So thank you, and thank you, Arch, for being such great supporters.
Thank you.
All right, my friends. Well, that concludes this episode of Mentorship Matters. We hope to see you at our next episode. And until then, lean in and start mentoring, or get mentored yourself. It's all about interactions. It's all about relationships. You don't need a framework. Just go make it happen. We'll see you soon.